Megan Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox has the story.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox writes at PJ Media.
Eat Tucker.
And that was your last.
Damn it, man. I cried for 2 days.
Megan, thank you very much for that.
So, I can explain the bed thing.
If you don't show up and vote, up your ass. I don't care if you're in the hospital. Crawl to the stake. Crawl there.
It's like Jesus going into the temple. He's like, I got a whip. Get out! Get out! The lovely and wonderful Megan Fox. Not that one.
Not that one. Not the weird one that drinks blood in his toe thumb.
Megan Fox.
Megan. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
She's the devil.
Megan Fox. Megan Fox.
I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
You've never met a like me. You want to tangle? You want to go?
Holy sh!
Too much cussing on this. I guess we didn't bleep it, so we got to turn it off. But it's
Pissed off the wrong woman.
oh my God, I have been assaulted when Megan Fox runs wild on you, brother.
She's the devil.
Not for publication.
The story.
I'm Megan Fox. Thank you. Cheers.
Good morning. Well, if you made it through the YouTube's longest intro and you're still here, welcome back. I'm Megan Fox. You guys know me, and I have some news. We have to take down the sign today. Can you believe it? Because check it out. Oh my God, it's a super chat. Thank you, Jason J, for sending the sheep shite. Megan can make money again. YouTube gave me my money back. I don't know what to say. We've had the sign up for a while in protest, but today we get to take it down. That doesn't mean that I'm getting rid of it forever, because I don't know. I'm sure that we're going to have more problem. Let's get to 20K subs. Yes. Subscribe, subscribe. We're back, baby. When did I get monetized again? Well, I'll tell you. Yesterday, I opened up my little app and I hit the money button and it said, congratulations, you're a partner again after 10 years. I mean, it's just insane. Holly, thanks for being here for my hair. I appreciate that. Bad Weather Biker, thanks for the $10 super chat. Says, take my super chat money or you're a bigot. I will take it. Okay. All right. Today we have a very special guest. And, some of you know, oh, Chandler, thank you. Money. Happy remonetization, Megan. Thank you for that, Chandler. Then again, you guys, don't worry. If you still want to go Cash App and Venmo, that means Google doesn't get their dirty hands on all the money. So those are still open. Those are still options for you. And I'll pin them in the chat so you can see them. All right. You guys know I've been a journalist for 20 years. I have written a couple of books. I spent 20 years in front of a keyboard, writing, typing, and it did a number on my spine. So I have a pinched nerve, and it got so bad with the pain that my physical therapist, I'm in physical therapy every week, and it's just a nightmare. Physical therapist says, I don't know what to tell you, but you got to move. You got to walk like 3 to 5 miles a day. I'm like, who has time to walk 3 to 5 miles a day? And also, how am I going to make money? Because if I'm walking 5 miles a day, when do I have time to sit in front of a keyboard? And the truth is, she's like, you can't sit in front of a keyboard. You have to stop sitting in front of a keyboard because that's what's bothering you. That's what's making you sick. And that's what's making you in pain. So what did I do? I dove down deep into my bag of tricks, and I brought back out serving, because serving, waitressing, is something that I used to do in my 20s and teens and 20s, that I'm pretty good at. And I thought, well, if I can I'll be walking a lot if I wait tables, and probably at least 3 miles a day if I do it. And I can make some money while I do it. Well, I went back to work waiting tables, as some of you know, and I have a series on locals called Tales from the Restaurant, which is just for my local subs. And by the way, don't you dare sign up for YouTube memberships. Don't do it. Sign up on locals instead. I know memberships are available here, but sign up on locals instead. meganfox.locals.com, because you'll get all the exclusive content over there. Anyway, so we've been doing these Tales from the Restaurant. You guys love it. And I have been listening to a new podcast, not a new podcast. They've done over 200 episodes. It's new to me, the Modern Waiter podcast. And I've told some of you about it. I love talking to creators who are doing cool things. And I invited the Modern Waiter, Marlon Joseph, to come on this program and talk to me all about the restaurant industry and serving. And he's here. Welcome to the program, Marlon. I'm so happy to have you.
Woo! Thank you for having me.
So glad you're here. I've been listening to your podcast, and it's really turned around some things for me. I was getting kind of just depressed about the Karens at work, because there are a lot of them. I don't know if that's what you call them. That's what we call them.
Okay.
But the problem customers, the ones who are never happy no matter what you do. And I really learned a lot listening to your program about controlling your customers, which is a really interesting topic. You're very knowledgeable about all this, Marlon. How did you get to be so knowledgeable about the industry?
Well, I've been in the industry for, well over 25 years. And so I've always been a student of life. Whenever I go out, I'm constantly reading people, looking, and I have a psychology background as well. So going out, and I'm a big people watcher. Whenever I go to airports, whenever I go out with my friends, I'm half in the conversation and wondering, what is this person doing and why are they together and what's happening? I'm constantly putting stories together. And so as I'm going through my years in the industry, I marry that with my psychology background. And it really is just putting pieces together and making this puzzle work. And reading people is a big skill that you have to have.
It's interesting because I'm not surprised you have a psychology background, because you have some really good insight into why people behave the way they behave. And something that I really loved hearing on one of your shows was talking about how each person who comes into the restaurant is looking for some type of experience.
Yes.
And it's your job to figure out what that experience is. What is the experience that they're looking for? That's not an easy job, is it?
It really isn't, because a good time is different to different people. When a guest comes in, sometimes they just want to be left alone, and that's great service. They want that utilitarian service. They want to sit down, have you bring things to them, and it comes on time. And they're there, and they're entertained by the people that they're with, or by themselves. You never know. And that's a great time. And that's a terrible time for some people. Oh, he didn't talk to me. Oh, he didn't entertain me. I wasn't wowed by her presence. And it's really incredible that different people just want different things from their restaurant experience. And you have to wear all those different hats.
Isn't that funny? So it's true. So I get I try to read people too when I go up to the table. I try to get the vibe. So if I tell a joke or say something, or ask them about why, are you from out of town? And they don't really give me much, because I do like to identify my out of town customers versus the locals, because if I have an out of town table, then I'm going to pull from my bag of, okay, here's my tips while you're in town, other things you should see and do, because most people really appreciate that when I give them certain hikes to go on or things to see or wineries to visit. And so I'll try and figure out who's here, who's never been here before, or who's vacationing or whatever. But if they don't give me much back, I take that as a sign that they just want that utilitarian experience. They just want me to be quiet, bring things, be there when they need me, and just be not a part of this.
I agree.
But there's others that will respond to you or will start, wanting to do some small talk or whatever. And then that person, I try and turn on the charm,
Yes, I agree. And for the most part, I would say 80 to 90% of people will tell you what they want, whether it's their body language or what they actually say verbally. And so it's for me, I have that low key approach. I come up to the table, and if they turn to me or give me their attention, that's the first key. You start to learn that, hey, they actually want something from me. And if they don't, a lot of people, it can be very off-putting when they do not acknowledge you. They keep
Drives me
looking down
crazy.
at they look down at the menu. They really don't. They talk to you, but not to you.
Right.
Like, are you ordering to the napkin? Who are you talking to?
Eye contact is interesting, right? Because I try to give people eye contact, but there are those people who won't give it to me. Or they're just distracted. I don't know. It's hard to tell. One of the things I read on your bio was that, AP, yes, remonetized. Thanks for the super chat. Those of you who are just noticing, you can send super chats and super stickers again. Woohoo! I don't know why, but they gave it back. As you can see, the sign is gone temporarily. But yeah, you said something in your bio that you started a podcast to talk to people about how being in the server industry, in the restaurant business, is a legitimate form of a career.
Yes.
And I said something the other day to people when I was doing a Tales from the Restaurant. I said, I don't know why I feel this way, but I always feel like I have to apologize for something when I tell people what I do. Like, what do you do? Well, I wait tables because I have to have an excuse for it. And I don't know where that comes from. And I wonder if that's related to why you started your podcast.
It's very much related. We're constantly balancing the stigma between your pride of sense of what you do with having to explain what you do to people because, and whenever you do that because, it's almost doing your fellow coworkers a service, because a lot of people carry that stigma. It's projected onto us that you have no other choice but to fall back on
Right.
waitressing, and
Right, that there's no other choice.
yes, like you ended up here or you haven't moved on or anything like that. And the reality is, to me, it's a best kept secret because you do have a lot of flexibility. It's highly social. You can make a lot of money, excuse me, in a shorter period of time. And a lot of people make this a viable living with lower stress. And it has served me and a lot of my friends and coworkers well over the years. And I've done it. I started the podcast because I remember meeting some of my mom's friends, and it's one of the first things that people ask you: where are you from? What do you do?
What do you
Things
do?
like that.
Yeah.
And they asked, and she said, there's a couple other things that I do. I'm my own business, and
Yeah, you have a printing business, some kind of shirt printing business, which
yes.
sounds really cool. Yep.
And so she mentioned all of those and not my serving, which
Oh
is
boy.
very interesting. And I've been doing this, like I said, for over 25 years. And the first time I've ever waited on my mom was a few weeks ago.
Oh, what was that like?
I could see the pride in her face because
Aw.
it's a more upscale place, and she was there with my uncle. He picked her up from the airport, and she was staying with me. And so we've dined out before, and it was interesting. It was very odd, and she was very quiet, and it was surreal. But I started the podcast because I really wanted to help other people identify with being able to be okay with being a server or working in the restaurant, front of the house, back of the house, either way.
Right. And I think too that I think some people may have the impression because they've had bad service in places where the servers maybe are not attentive and don't appear to care much about their jobs. There are those people. I mean, they do exist. Um, that because of it, they get the feeling they don't want to be there. But that's not everybody. Some of us really love being there. Some of us really love the restaurant industry. Um, I'm one of them. I used to love it when I did it when I was younger, and I love it now again. I love everything about it. I As the older I got, the more introverted I've become,
Hmm.
and I don't go out a lot, and I don't have a big circle of friends anymore. I moved to a different state. I moved from Chicago to New York, and I'm in the country here. It's very rural where I am. There's just not a lot of opportunities for social, events or whatever. And I found that getting back into the restaurant industry is like the answer to everything. I'm getting paid to be social,
Yeah.
which I enjoy. I enjoy very much. I love people. I think you do have to love people though to do this job, right? If you really don't like people, you probably shouldn't be a server.
Well, not accurate.
No?
Because I am living testament that I can't stand people. And any one of my friends will tell you, I do not like people. My first position in the restaurant was back of the house. I was a line cook because I didn't want to talk to people. And I transitioned because it was just a different atmosphere. You can go out after a serving shift. Going out after, slanging fries and fish is really, really difficult. For many reasons. And so what you really have to do is compartmentalize whether you love people or not love people, because there are people that really love people that aren't good servers, because you have to serve people and you have to serve the people that you work with, meaning people that just love people and want to do anything for their tables at the behest of what they probably should or shouldn't do.
Oh yeah, that's not a good idea. No.
Not a good idea.
No.
That's
No,
what's
that's a way to get the kitchen to hate you.
Yes, correct. So you have to walk that balance. So I don't
Yes.
necessarily care for people. I like some people, and I can be very introverted. However, it brings out the social side of me. It brings out the willingness to help people, and but the people at large aren't very likable. But
No, they are not.
but it's fun. It's fun for figuring out that puzzle.
I've had like a growing appreciation for even the difficult people because
Yeah.
they give me content. And so whenever I run into one at the restaurant, I get excited like, "Oh, this is great. How is this going to go?" Because it doesn't matter how it goes. The audience is going to like it one way or the other.
Yes.
My very first inclination though, when I run into a difficult customer, and I'm sorry, I'm going to stereotype. I'm going to do it. It's always women, and it's always women of a certain age. And I feel like I can say that because I am one. But there are women who are in the boomer age category. That's every time that I have a problem. It's in that a category. Very rarely is it a man, although sometimes, but very rarely. But my very first inclination when I run into a difficult customer is to try to win them over. But
Okay.
there's a line where that ends for me, where if you're not going to work with me at all, well, then I give up on you completely and I ignore you. Like I will just ignore you and wait till I just try to get you out as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah.
You know how we were talking about how you try to figure out what people want.
Yes.
Most of the difficult customers that I have, these women, they want to be treated as if they are the only person in the restaurant, that they want attention, they're
Yes.
attention seeking,
Yes.
and you can only give so much of that because you have 6 other tables maybe that need your attention equally.
Yes.
How do you handle that?
Well, the first thing is trying to identify what it is that they want. And I find the difficult people aren't able to communicate what they want. They tend to be controlling. They really want to control how the evening goes, how they're the ones that oh, water's for everyone, and or make sure you want dessert, you want to have something, they want to steer it that way, and they very rarely want to relinquish that control. And so between the communication and control, I then approach the table and I use my little tricks. Since they want attention, I tend to, when I'm taking the order, I stand next to them. And so as people
That's good.
are, yeah,
That's good.
it's a small thing, but as people are looking my way to order, they feel like they're looking at them because I'm standing next to them and they're soaking that up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I use that trick. And then if I do have to maneuver my way from the table to actually do my job, I address them and I say, hey, I'll be right back, but I'm gonna check on this for you. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And it doesn't take me that much more time to do that, but it really satisfies that part where they just are so needy. And a lot of times they just want to know that everything is going to go smoothly. And there are times when I say, hey, listen, I'm going to make sure that everything is perfect. And if it's not, I go, I'll eat it,
I haven't eaten since my first shift anyway.
Exactly. So have I ever had to eat anything? Absolutely not. But it's the sentiment. And I've had to work on that. I've had to work on my sentiment. And it can go a long way.
So that's interesting because I like the standing next to the person who wants the attention. I haven't tried that yet. But I do try to give that person more attention, than I normally would. And if it seems to calm them down, then I will just continue doing that. And if it doesn't, I just tend to write it off. I just write it off and get them out as fast as possible. But I've had some doozies. One of the things that is always a sign to me, and I'm wondering if you have one of these too. Do you have something that you take as a sign that you're going to have a difficult table right off the bat? Does something happen right in the beginning and you think to yourself, damn, here we go again? For me, it's lemons with water, not ordering a drink and wanting lemons for their water. That's every time I'm like, these people aren't going to tip me and they're going to hate everything. God dang it.
Yes, there are some universal tells, and off the top of my head, if they're getting to me after moving tables more than once, like if you move tables,
the Goldilocks people.
Yes, that's a tough one. You're like, I don't even want them. And if you move the second time, you say, oh, can we keep you as a server? No, it's someone else's section, but Ray's going to give you excellent service. Don't you worry. And you're like, that's the telltale that
I had one of those yesterday. And this is really funny because in our restaurant, I work at an upscale place. It's casual, but it's expensive. And it's like an experiential culinary thing. There's a wine bar downstairs. There's culinary classes. They give like cooking classes from local chefs. It's a really cool place. We have live music. I mean, it's just really cool. And then there's a cafe and I work in the cafe. And we have gardens outside where we grow food that we serve. Like, it's just cool. We do weddings. It's a really cool place.
Excellent.
But this what we have inside, the tables it's like a lot of wood inside, very polished wood, very pretty. And the tables are all the same, but the chairs are different at different tables.
Okay.
So some chairs are like plushy leather chairs, and some chairs have like a woven seat of leather that are a little different.
Mm-hmm.
It never fails that once in a while, someone will be seated at a table and they will go, oh, do you have any higher chairs? We actually keep a pillow so that we can give these little ladies a pillow to sit on when they complain about being too low, like a big people booster seat. Well, it never fails though that someone will get up and start testing out all the other chairs. Well, yesterday this Four Top sits down and I'm waiting to like go take the table and I see that they're shuffling around out there and they're not sitting down. They are dragging chairs from another table, and these are big, heavy, solid wood chairs. They're heavy, and like you can't have people doing this for insurance purposes. You're going to pull something and then you're going to sue us. So I run over there and I'm like, can I help you? And they say, oh, well, we don't like these chairs. We want those chairs. And I said, well, you're welcome to move to that table. It's right next to you. You could sit right. Oh, no. We want this table, but those chairs.
That is, now I see the flaw in the different chairs. I've gone to places with different chairs. People want to control their whole environment. It's like, it's one meal. You're going to eat again today. I promise you. What's happening here?
I don't know. But then there were 2 other people at the table. So I change out the 2 chairs and there's 2 other people. I'm like, do you want those chairs too? And, they were like, no, we're fine. It was their kids. Their kids were like, no, we're fine.
Do you find that people allow their nutty friends to be nutty? I find that I blame you, sir.
I hate it when they do stuff like this, like when they know they have an asshole at the table, and instead of controlling their friend, they say to you, we're really sorry about him, but there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, there's plenty you could do.
There's plenty you could do. How about say, you're not allowed to talk to the wait staff. We will take care of it because you're kind of a jerk here. And don't tell stupid jokes. Nobody likes them. Instead, they'll just apologize for it and be like, we can't control him. You'll see. That's what they say to me. And then I'm like, oh, what? What's going to happen?
Great.
Kelly, thanks for the super chat, says, I have a friend that returns her food every single time. She is difficult, then wants a discount on the bill because of the inconvenience. How do you deal with that? Oh, Marlon, how do you deal with that?
That's tough because it's really not the server's job necessarily. Especially when you have a manager that bends over backwards and has no spine, you're really left with, they leave you out to dry. So the management and the servers should be in alignment. The first thing is when the first telltale sign is when people modify the food. When they say, oh, instead of this, I want that. And can you put that in? And then you want to say things like, oh, the chef puts it together for a reason. If you change anything, we can't guarantee the flavors and how it is. And so then it's really your creation that you're going to have regardless of you liking it or not. If there's probably a better delicate way to say that you change it, you buy it. But then if they ask to speak to a manager and he comes over and they
give it to them. They just give it to them because nobody wants the bad Google reviews. So we can't argue with them ever. I will tell them ahead of time if they try to modify something weirdly. I'll say, I don't think you're going to like that. Maybe something else on the menu you might like better. But if they're not clear about it, this is when you run into trouble. So the other day I had a woman do a substitute. She was a very nice lady, but high maintenance. The whole table was nice, but high maintenance. And I'm fine with that. That's part of my job is to take care of that high maintenance thing. And then she says to me, I want the chopped chicken salad with no blue cheese, which is fine. No blue cheese, no problem. But I want it on a brioche bun. And I was like, wait, hold on. It's a giant dinner salad with lettuce and chopped up chicken and bacon and avocado, and it's really good with dressing, but you wouldn't put that on a bun because it wouldn't fit, first of all, and also you're eating a salad on a bun. It's just so weird. So I tried to get her to explain to me what it was she really wanted. I said, it's not going to fit on a brioche bun. I can get you one on the side and then you can do whatever you want with the bun. And she said, yes, that's what I want. So I get that for her. Only to find out later, I come back to the table. She has picked out every piece of lettuce and just put the chicken and the bacon and the avocado on the bread. We have a sandwich on the menu that is grilled chicken breast with bacon, BLT, like it's a BLT with a chicken breast that she could have had. Why didn't she just tell me she wanted a chicken sandwich?
And there is the lack of communication gap. They're not able to communicate what they actually want. And it's perhaps that they don't even know what they want.
Just so weird. That couldn't have been good. That couldn't have been good.
to Kelly's response to Kelly's question, the telltale sign that I have, the trigger that I have when someone's ordering and they're going to be difficult, is they say things like, they'll ask you questions about the menu and they said, okay, I'll try it. And I said, wait, are you what do you mean by that? You know,
Do you really want it?
yes,
Or do
I said,
you?
are you having that or are you trying it? And I make them know that I see a difference here. We're not trying things here. This is not
This is not a tasting bar. Okay.
yeah, exactly. This is not a tapas pass
It's not
buffet thing.
tapas. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I make sure that they say, oh, I'm having that. You know, we can say, oh, I'll try that. It's like, is that just, that's their mindset. They just want to, no, I don't want that. Oh, what? This is a business here. You know, we sell stuff.
I had a woman, oh my God, I forgot to plug my computer in. Hold on, or my computer's going to die. That would be bad. Marlon, talk to the chat for a second while I get my cord.
All right. Chat's open and I'm here for you. To expand on one of the things that Megan asked me earlier was one of the triggers that that I know that someone's going to be an issue is the person that sits far away from the table, where the table is reclined and their feet are out and they're in the aisle where we can't get through. That person is going to be an issue. And so whenever I see that person, I go, oh my gosh, this is not going to be good. And invariably they are a problem. Not just because they're in the way, but you have to be self-aware that when you're sitting at a table, but you're pushed so far back and your feet are up. It's like I was explaining one of the triggers.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that yet. Oh,
You've
no.
never had a person that's pushed so far back from a table that they're in the aisle as you're walking through. Oh my gosh, that's
Maybe
one of my
because of the
triggers.
way we have it set up. It's not, the chairs are so heavy that you really could not push them back very far. I mean, in order to get them back to the table, it would be like a whole chore. You'd have to get up and move it, and they're solid. They're heavy chairs.
That is an advantage because people maneuver these chairs. Oh, they come and they move the tables, and then they say, "Oh, this table's uneven." I said,
I can't stand it when they do this.
Yeah,
we had a guy break a table over the weekend because he was doing that. Yeah, we're setting up a 25 on the patio, and the tables and the chairs out there are a little lighter. We're setting up for 25, and there was a 3-top in the corner, and they, for whatever reason, had 2 tables on their 4-top. So it was a 4-top with a 2 right next to it, like pushed up against it. I guess we just hadn't separated them before we sat them. And the girl who was setting up, one of the girls who was setting up with me, needed that table that was on there. It was attached to their 4-top, which they didn't need.
Yes.
And so she went over and asked if she could take it, and they said fine. So she takes it, but then he gets up and he goes over to get another table for him. For whatever, I don't know, just to put his stuff on. He breaks the table. He starts to pull the table, and there was a screw loose or something, and it came popping off. And he's carrying, at the same time, a baby on the front of him in a baby carrier. I run over there again. I'm like, sir, insurance does not allow you to do this. Please don't touch the tables. I will get you whatever you need. Please stop doing that. And he wouldn't stop doing it. I was like, sir, leave the table alone. I will help you. What do you want? You know, it was insane.
That's all you have to do is ask.
Just ask. We're not allowed to let you move furniture around. And he broke the table
with a baby Bjorn on his front. Yes. That's also like a control thing. Somebody's, I have to do it. I have to do it now. I need it now. Just relax. We're here to help. We're literally waiters. We wait on you.
We wait on you. That's why we're here. We've had people try to set up their own big table when they were told no. So we only have certain areas outside where you could set up a big table for a lot of people. The other side of the patio is too narrow. So if we were to try and put tables together there, your servers wouldn't be able to deliver you food, and they couldn't walk past the table. You'd be like trying to, scooch past, and it just wouldn't be comfortable. Well, one night this big group had come in, and they had a table inside that was all set up for them, but they were determined to sit outside, and we were packed outside with and we said, no, I'm sorry, there's no room for you. 2 minutes later, one of the servers comes to the back and goes, I don't know what to do. They're moving tables outside, and they're trying to move. We have big wine barrels out there that are really heavy, and one guy is moving a wine barrel and just redoing the patio to suit them. And the manager had to let them, I mean, she went out there to stop them, but then she had to actually let them sit like that because they were just going to cause a huge scene. So she set it up, but it was incredibly difficult to serve them. And then they start to think they can do that every time they come in. And then the next time they were like, well, we did it last time. Like, yes, we're not doing it again. So I don't know what to tell you. That's the thing I hate the most, is when somebody lets somebody do something once.
Yes.
Then you have to do it every time ever. We can only split checks in four at where I am. Our computers only do it 4. And the 6th top is ordering, it's pizza pint night. So you get a pizza and a pint for $18 or something. They each order a pizza and a pint, 6 of them. And it's a 6 top. So that's an auto gratuity. It's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. At the very end of the meal, they say, oh, we need separate checks. And I said, well, I can only do 4. Oh, they did it for us last time. So, well, I don't know who did it for you last time. I'm telling you, my computer only does 4, and I don't know how they did it for you last time.
Yes.
I can only do 4. Oh, no, they did it for us last time, and you can do it this time. So I go back. I'm trying desperately to do this, to get out 6 different checks on this. It takes me a while to print out 6 different checks. And by the time I get back with the checks, now they're angry that it has taken me a long time to split these checks. And it turns out that 3 or 4 of them were paying in cash. They could have just paid their friends cash. Oh my God, Marlon, what is it with the split check people?
Are you sure that you wanted to go back to serving?
Yes, because it's fun. It gives me good content anyway. It gives me shit to complain about.
That is so classic, because the overwhelming premise that I communicate to people is, I'm here for you. I came to work to give you things. And when they try to gamify it or say, oh, we did it last time and things like that, it's like, I'm not here. I didn't come to work to tell you no. I can only do what I can do. I'm only willing to do what I'm supposed to do. And so whoever did it for you last time,
They might have been wrong. They might have been wrong. And if they were wrong and I'm telling you what's right, you can't force me. I guess they could, because they did, to force me to do this.
Yeah, but then it took you a long time, and they were angry anyway, when they could have, found a way to pay each other in cash. There's Venmo, there's all kinds of things. That's the tightrope that we walk. We dealing with managers that push the tables together. We did it last time, and you want to make people happy. That's why she did it. Mm-hmm. But then created an issue. People moving around, trying to get around. Oh, we did it last time, pulling tables together. Sometimes you have to save the guest from themselves.
It's true. Well, and look, while some people are really rude customers, some people are also really great. I have had so many great customers recently, and I really kind of credit Marlon for that, because I feel like I've changed what I'm doing, and I've changed my attitude and my body language even, that has led to some really positive encounters with tables. So I'll tell you, Marlon, what I got out of one of your podcasts that's really been working for me well. I was having a problem when I would go up to a table, and we bring them water, and I will sell whatever special I have going on at the moment, and I'll walk away, and then I come back. But when I would come back, no one would be ready to order drinks. No one knew what they wanted to order for drinks. They were too busy looking at the food menu, and no one had looked at the drink menu. So I listened to one of your podcasts about controlling the experience, controlling don't let them lead this. You're there to do this for them, So I have started, when I go up with the water, I get their attention. I make sure they're looking at me, and I tell them all the drink specials. And I'm really good at selling cocktails. I sell the most cocktails in the restaurant.
Nice.
I'm very good at it. And in fact, we made a sangria out of an $11 bottle of wine. Me and the bartender were experimenting, and we decided to make it a drink special this weekend. And I sold 17 of them on Saturday, and we made 200. It was like a $200 profit on an $11 bottle of wine.
Oh, sweet.
Because the apples were free because they came from the garden, and we put a little bit of brandy in it. It was really delicious too. But I was working my tail off selling that sangria, like selling it to every table. And on one table, I sold like 9 of them at one table. So that's the first thing I do is I'll tell them the drink specials. And then the new thing I do is I pick up the drink menu and I show it to them. I say, this right here has all of our local draft selections, local wine. There's non-alcoholics on here as well. If you're looking for non-alcoholic drinks, that's there too. Because people, I swear, sometimes if they don't drink, they get offended when you're talking about alcoholic drinks. And then I put it back down and I say, and I will be back in 2 minutes to take your drink orders.
Yeah.
And then I turn around and walk away. I would say that I have had a 90% improvement on when I get back to that table, they're ready to order a drink.
Yes.
Almost every time they're ordering drinks. And that made a big difference. It made a big difference.
That's exciting because it's important to let people know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we set expectations like we do with toddlers. I'm a mom. I've got 3 kids. Here's what's going to happen at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
You're going to have your shoes on before we walk out the door.
They sometimes assume that you don't have it together. So I say, oh, I'm going to tell you, I'll let them know I'm going to tell you the specials. I'll give you a minute, look everything over, and I'll be back to find out what you'd like to drink. After that, I really do the whole litany of what's going to happen. I do it in stages. And even if I'm cleaning up, I say, oh, I'm going to clear everything for you, and then I'm going to take your order. Or another thing, how do you deal with people that say they're not in a hurry? Oh, we're going to take our time. It's kind of confusing sometimes because it feels like they don't mean it.
They don't
still
mean it.
Want you there.
They never mean it.
They never mean it. Okay.
They never mean it. They say that, and then you're like, well, okay. Then I walk away and I get distracted by 8 million other things. But my head says, well, they're not in a hurry, so they can wait. But by the time you get back to them, now we had to wait. Well, you said you wanted to.
Yes. They don't. I'm still figuring that one out. I still, it's odd timing because they make everything. When you sit in a restaurant, you as a server get sat, and ideally other people get sat, and then you get sat again. Mm-hmm. So then if you people that don't want to be rushed, you miss your turn in that rotation, and then you want everything when you want it.
We don't come back till you're next up in the rotation because we're dealing with other people who do want stuff right when they were supposed to.
Yeah, great point.
I think if you say to a server, we're not in a hurry, you better mean it. And so if you have to end up waiting 10 or even 20 minutes for something, you better not be upset. Or if you've changed your mind in the middle, let your server know. Yeah. Okay, we thought we weren't in a hurry, but now we are.
Yes.
Okay, because I've had one table that I really liked who wasn't in a hurry, and they said to me, here's how we would like to do this. We want to order an appetizer now, and then when we're done eating it, we want to order another one. And when we're done with that, then we want to order something else. But that's how we want to pace this.
I like that.
I was blown away by how great it was. And that service went wonderfully because I knew when they were done eating, I was going back to take another order. And I would just keep doing that. And we had this thing going on where it worked. But if you don't tell me, I don't know what to do. I don't know how long you want to wait. I don't know how far in between the courses you want to go. If you tell me, though, we want to treat this like a 5-course meal, and here's how we're going to do it. Mm-hmm. That's perfect.
Yes.
I can give you that.
Invariably, what happens is you give them the time, and then they go, oh, we haven't ordered, and they order. I'm still in the you're taking your time mode. You haven't given me further instructions.
I know.
And so at the end, when we want to go, we have to go. You didn't speed me up. You didn't change. You didn't tell me, hey, I'd like to, put this back on course. And they end up leaving sour, because it's really hard to read those people, because we're there to work. And if you don't give me something to do, I'm going to do something
I'm going
else
to do it for
somewhere
somebody
else.
else.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm going to make money somewhere
Absolutely.
else.
I'm going to go make money somewhere else. That brings me to another topic. So I got a horrible review the other day, and it was so unfair. And I knew the table that it was, and I don't know what I did to offend them, but it happened somewhat early on in our communication. So there were two people. It was a guy and a girl on a date, very young. They were in their 20s, I would say, maybe early 20s, very young. And they were sat after a 12 top that I was also mine, outside in the same area. So they could see the 12 top from where they were, and I could see them from where I was working with the 12. And the 12 was delightful. They were celebrating 2 anniversaries. They had communicated with me ahead of time about what they wanted. And, we had some special things for them. And they had reservations. And then this 2 gets seated after the 12, which I'm in the middle of taking care of. But I get over to them right away. They get their water. They get their drinks right away. I made sure that they got their drinks right away and everything. And I noticed that when I came back with their appetizer, which came very quickly because appetizers come up really quick. When I came back with their appetizer, they had switched seats. So when I first sat them, the woman was faced away from the lake and the man was faced toward the lake outside. And then they had switched seats. And I said, oh, because you memorize who's where.
Seat
so it threw me. I was like, wait, did you switch seats? And he said, yeah, we did. We thought we would share the view. And I said, oh, what a good idea. That's a great idea. I probably should have taken note that maybe she was disappointed in their seating arrangement in the first place because she didn't have a view of the lake or something. I don't know. But after that, she was just giving me the cold shoulder, and I couldn't figure out why. So they got their appetizer. Their food came up within 25 minutes, I would say. So that's a really fast time. They had, so I had given that. Now, meanwhile, while they are eating, I am tending to the 12 top who needs refills, and we're joking around and we're laughing. We're having a great time. They were funny and fun and out for a really good time. And they were laughing and having a great time, telling jokes, and they were involving me in it. And so I was doing what I do. I was taking photographs of them. I was, absolutely. You want to take pictures? I'll be your photographer. I don't have a problem with that. And, but never did this 2 top wait for anything until they apparently wanted their check. And I was saying goodbye to my 12 top, and they were walking out the door. I was literally holding the door for them, saying goodbye. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. It was lovely, whatever. Right. And they're sitting right there. And they couldn't have been, we have timers on the POS system, so you know how long a table's been sitting there. Their total time in the restaurant from the moment they sat down until the moment they cashed out was 42 minutes. 42 minutes, Marlon. That's like less than average time.
May I ask if the bad review also included a sentiment of inattentiveness?
Yeah, she said she got horrible service.
How did I know? I'll tell you why.
And then she said that I was spending all of my time on big money tables, and she's never felt so disrespected before in her entire life.
How did I know?
What?
They were jealous of the rapport, not necessarily the time that you spent there. It's so if you're having a good time with a table and it's a rapport, it's a back and forth thing, other tables can get very jealous because they're not having that together and they're not having that with you.
Yeah, so instead of paying attention to her date, this woman is paying attention to me and what I am doing and watching me have a date with other customers, How bizarre is that?
That you're not on them.
Yeah, like I'm cheating on them. And here's the crazy part. Like we work as a team. The entire team of our restaurant, we work together. So if somebody wants a check, we can go get their check. It doesn't have to be my table to get the check.
Okay.
She asked the hostess who was walking by for their check. Hostess runs up to the computer, grabs their check, brings it to them, tells me I brought them their check. Then I go out immediately and say, I apologize that you had to wait for that. Let me take care of it for you right now. And I grab it. They didn't have to wait for anything. She just resented that she had to ask a hostess for her check, which really shouldn't be a problem because we all work together anyway. If I see somebody's ready to check out and they have a credit card in their book and it's not my table, I will grab it and say, I'll take care of that for you. And I go do it. And we all do this for each other. So
That's
it's not
the confusing part about pooling, like a house pool or working together. It can be confusing to the guests. And so one way to mitigate that is to mention it that, hey, anyone here, like for instance, if you have a partner next to you, Sue can get this, anything that if she's by, ask her anything that you might need. And we'll be able to, because everyone's
I've started
working
doing
together.
that on busy nights. I've started telling my tables, hey, if you don't see me and you need me, any one of these team members here can help you. So just grab anybody and we'll get you taken care of. Because I just want them to know, like, you're not alone here.
Correct.
You're not on your own. You're not dependent on me for anything. You can grab anybody here and they will either get me or get what you need. It's a weird thing.
It's a downside to the system of everybody does everything, because a lot of guests are conditioned to have a my guy. Oh, Megan's my guy,
Megan's
my gal. And someone will come over and they'll offer them service. Nope, we'll wait for Megan. They don't want to talk to you. I'll wait for my server. And so that's one of the things that you might have to overcome when you introduce and say, oh, we're all working together. And yeah, that I understand the review now.
It's just not fair, though. It's not fair, especially because she didn't indicate to me she wanted that. I tried with them, and she gave me the cold shoulder. So I just decided, well, she's just one of those utilitarian guests. She just wants her food, and to get to not have that, because she wasn't responding to me in any way. Only the boyfriend would talk. So it was just a bizarre thing. If she really had wanted that, she could have had it. She just didn't give me anything, which made me think you don't want it.
You can't win them all. I lost one yesterday at brunch.
Did you?
Right at the end. I fell flat on my face.
I hate brunch so much.
No one likes brunch. No one. It's kind of fun. It's the way that I hear that you feel about serving. It gives me content. It's so wild. I feel like I'm in a Western when I show up to work brunch. It's kill or be killed.
High noon. Yes, kill or be killed.
Here they come. They come early at the door and they line up and we.
God, they come early. The early comers. No, don't. We have a rope. We have a rope across the stairs. Do you know what they do? Instead of go around the rope, they go to the elevator and come up the back way and then just walk into the restaurant like we're open. It drives me crazy. We had people show up. We open at 11 for brunch. We had a 7-top reservation show up 20 minutes to 11.
Yes.
And sat down. And I was like, folks.
Man, we're still setting up.
Folks, we can maybe bring you some coffee, but that's going to be it for the next 20 minutes, okay?
No,
holy
stay outside. That's funny. You barricaded the front with some sandbags and the water finds a way around the other back end.
Yes. They're always there at least 10 minutes to 11. And then they're pissed that we're just ignoring them. And it's like, lady, we're not open. Yeah, I don't know how you got into this building. But damn it.
I used to work at a place where there was really no central, like one entrance. Danny, I do a podcast with Danny, and he still works there. And when you open up that place and you're setting up, people could just come in from any one of these nondescript entrances, and you're like, "Come on, man! Like, there's still tables stacked. There's chairs, and there's nothing. Get.
Get. I know, and there's no way to tell people and we don't have a waiting area. This
Oh,
is something that's really frustrating. We don't have like a bench or somewhere where people can wait comfortably.
okay.
And so we don't do that. We don't do waiting for tables. If there's no tables, you don't get a seat. You can go sit at the bar. That's it.
Mm.
And there's no waiting unless I don't know what you would do. I guess you could wait by the bar and just keep notifying the hostess that hey, is there a table for me yet? Hey, is there? Because no, we take reservations, but we don't do waiting for tables.
Okay.
That's just the way it works because there's no place to wait. So it would be really strange to have a bunch of people just standing there staring at your diners.
Okay. I imagine, I can envision.
Yeah, it's like the entrance to it's upstairs, and then the very first thing you walk into is the host stand, and then there's the restaurant, and then there's the bar to the right. So
There's no buffer zone.
There's no buffer zone, none, zero buffer zone. So unless we make people wait on the stairs, it would just be really strange. But brunch is a disaster most of the time, and I don't know if everyone seems super anxious at brunch. And you would think that brunch would be like a really casual, fun experience and have a mimosa. For God's sake, start drinking.
Yes. You're drinking.
If they would just start drinking, it would be fine. But no, they want coffee or they want, just juice. All right, here was the weirdest order I got for brunch. It was three ladies, older ladies in their 70s. And ladies. So I go over there, and of course, no one wants an alcoholic drink, which would help situations so much. If you just kick back and have a Bloody Mary, okay? We put bacon in there. You're gonna love it. But no, I want coffee. I want tea. Oh, the tea people. Okay, you know all about the tea service.
No. Listen. If there's one thing that I would like to wipe off of the face of every restaurant in the world is hot tea service. I had to explain to my manager once what it meant for me to serve tea. And now it has gotten increasingly more difficult because, okay, so for those of you who have never waited tables, here's the thing with hot tea. Number one, it costs about $3.50. For the work that I'm doing, I have to, you say, oh, I'd like hot tea. Okay. I go back. I get tea in a little teapot.
In a little teapot. You got to get the hot water.
Get the hot water. Then I prime the cup because you're pouring tea in a cold cup. So I prime the cup with hot water, pour that out. Then I have to get the sugar, the teaspoon, the plate that sits on the
saucer.
The saucer. Thank you so much. Then comes the tea box.
And what about the cream? I bring milk and honey and lemon because I'm sick as shit of going to the table with the tea and them going, do you have any honey? Oh, can I get some lemon? So I bring it all. So I get honey, lemon. Yes. And I have to go into the honey jar and get some of that in a ramekin. It's a pain in the ass, but I do it every time because I don't have time for this. I just bring you everything you could.
It's a 3-tripper, unless you bring in the biggest tray ever.
That's what I do.
And the bane of my existence is that tea box. Now we have these teas that have the fanciest writing on it, and there's pictures.
Oh no!
And you can't read it. No one knows what tea is this. So I have to sit there for.
Oh no.
And so bring in the tea box now. A lady says to me, oh, I can't read that. What does it say? And there I go. This one's mint. It should just be clear. Mint, chamomile, and it's not. It's so confusing.
So we don't do a tea box. We have little containers that have a selection of teas that you just drop on the table. And if there's something in there they want, then they drink it. If there's nothing they want, then I take it off their bill. And I'm not going to go dig through the tea and look for something specific. You're either going to take what I gave you from the selection or we're just not doing tea today. But there's at least 10 of them in there. There's
at least it's not a tea box, but I've started to just give them black tea.
That's all we have.
That's what you're getting. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
No.
I've also stopped apologizing for things we don't have. So when people read the menu and then they go, do you have any pasta? And there's clearly none, or other than the tortellini, and there's clearly nothing on there. I just go, no. I used to say, I'm sorry, we don't have that. Now I just go, no, no. I mean, it's not on the menu. Why?
It's not on the menu.
If we had it, it would be there.
Yes.
And you asking me if we have stuff that isn't on the menu just
Won't
deserves
make it
a
appear.
no.
I used to be super rude about that because it would bother me. You would ask me, okay, what kind of beer do you have? Or what kind of, this happened to me last week. Oh, what kind of scotch do you have? And I had a list. Glad you asked, sir. I went down the list and he says, you don't have Balvenie? And I read the list again. Megan, I read the list again. Then he comes up with, you don't have this? And I said, as it turns out, sir, I
It's not on the list.
we're not holding
We
back.
don't have it.
We're not
We're
holding
not
back
lying
on
to
yeah,
you.
We're not holding
We're
back
not
on.
holding bottles of liquor under the bar for our favorite people.
Yeah, we don't want to keep it for ourselves. God, just pick one. It's frustrating to have to answer a question after you've given them a definitive list. Just stop it.
Stop it. All right, so my weird brunch order.
Yes.
The
Lay it
woman
on me.
goes, I want eggs Benedict, but I don't want any English muffins. I want toast extra crispy. And I was like, wait. You want the eggs Benedict then on the toast, on the extra crispy toast? She goes, no. No, I don't. I want that on the side. So are there eggs? What do you want the eggs on? And she goes, well, on the plate. I'm like, lady, that is not eggs Benedict. That is poached eggs.
Yes.
So you are deconstructing
Yes, you
the
are.
eggs Benny. And on a busy brunch, we just had an 11 top sit, a 7 top sit, 4s, 2s, they're everywhere. And I'm like, the kitchen is going to have my fucking head right now if I send this order down. But what am I going to do? I'm going to say, no, I can't. So I'm like, okay.
You did it?
Okay. Oh, yeah, I did. And then the next lady says, that's exactly what I want, except no tomatoes. So the eggs go on tomato, Canadian bacon, and then the muffin.
Okay.
So now the second one wants the exact same thing with no muffins, extra crispy toast on the side. And then the other lady goes, oh, and I need extra hollandaise sauce. And on the side, I said, oh, okay. I put extra hollandaise on that one. The other lady goes, I don't want extra hollandaise. I just want eggs Benedict, but no muffins, toast on the side, no tomatoes. Okay. Okay. The third one looks dead in my eyes and says, well, since everyone else is being difficult, I guess it's my turn.
No.
Oh, yeah. And she orders the cheeseburger, which we only serve one way. We call it the New York burger. It comes with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, and some kind of aioli. That's it. That's all that's on it. This woman proceeds to pick the burger apart and order other sauces that go on chicken to go on the burger, plus other stuff that doesn't go on the burger. We don't do customized burgers. But at this point, I've just let these two idiots do their eggs Benedict without stuff. And so what am I going to say? No. So I take, this is the first order of the day that's going to the kitchen. I literally typed in, I'm so sorry.
I love it.
And we don't go in the kitchen. We communicate through radio because they're downstairs and we're upstairs. And so we don't run down. They send the food up on an elevator.
Oh,
and they just tell us, orders up, go to the elevator, get the food.
Okay.
And so we don't see each other until shift drinks. And and then when shift drinks come around, I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about all of the terrible things I did to you today. But that woman, so the kitchen sends up the eggs Benedict perfect, just the way that they wanted them. Not a single mistake, including the extra hollandaise sauce. I was like, you guys are rock stars. The food runner comes back to me and says she wants more hollandaise sauce.
Ooh.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, for what?
What?
To take home? What's happening?
What? And it's not like we have a server station that has extra dressings. So if you ask for an extra dressing, I go get it, bring it to you in 2 seconds. No problem. I don't care. You ask for extra hollandaise sauce. Now I got to radio the kitchen and interrupt what they are doing so someone can get you extra hollandaise sauce, like take them off the line I can't go get it myself, to go fill it up for you and then put it on the elevator. I'm so embarrassed when I have to do this. I am so horrified when I have to ask the kitchen to get off the line to get somebody there. And you know, that woman didn't even eat it. They gave her the hollandaise sauce and it sat there untouched and I had to throw it out.
Oh no, that is awful.
I wanted to strangle her. I wanted to tell her, you are taking this hollandaise sauce home and you're going to eat it. But no, she left it on her plate completely untouched. I swear they just do this stuff just to make you run. Like no other reason than to just make you do stuff. It's so wasteful. Of course they were crap tippers. Of course they didn't leave me good tips. Are you kidding? It's always the ones with the modifications and the million, asking you to run 10, 11, 12 times to the kitchen, and they never leave you what that effort was worth.
Yes.
Because if you ask me, the effort and the psychological trauma I had to go through with the kitchen that day was worth way more than a 25% tip, and I didn't even get 18.
I tell you, that reminds me of, it was my old job where I used to work with Danny, and it was a 6-top, still remember it perfectly. We serve a focaccia bread. It has pesto and 2 different cheeses on it. People like the bread. And she made such a big deal about getting more bread. It's like, oh, I'd like some more bread. One of those, water for everybody. And they had appetizers and their food's about to come out. And she's like, oh, can we get some more bread? We want some more of that bread. She kept gesturing. So I said, okay. I went, got her more bread, and I put it in front of her. Their food comes out and she starts eating. I'm going by the table.
She's not touching the bread.
She's not touching this doggone bread. The bread is stacked like a Jenga puzzle and still in its perfect original form, not even moved. And so I'm going by.
Giving him the side eye.
Yeah, she's eating and I'm not even having it. So I'm clearing everybody at the end of the meal. And I take her dish and I leave the bread in front of her. I lean over, knuckles on the table, and I said, whispered in her ear, "You gonna eat that bread."
Oh, you did not.
I did.
You did not.
I swear to God, I did. She laughed. I did. I did it to be funny, but I was kind of pissed. I left it and she, like, everybody else was wondering what's happening. I was like, "You gonna eat that bread."
If I have to make you sit here for the next 2 hours,
I have
gonna eat
just a way to be so dry, but I'm serious, and I get away with a lot somehow.
You would totally get away with that with me. I would laugh my head off, and I would think that was hysterical. And then I would eat the bread because I would be like, "Oh shit!"
I wanted her to eat the bread because she made such a big deal.
Did she eat it?
No, she didn't eat it.
She didn't eat it.
She didn't eat it.
Dang it!
I wrapped it up for her. I wrapped it up.
Did
She's
you?
taking it home.
Here's your bread. Take it home.
Yes, I had to get the last in on her.
I should have done that with the lemon guy. So, all right, I had this couple. Now, you did an entire show about this, about stereotypes and Black people tipping.
One of the scariest shows I've ever done.
Scary. I know it. That's a scary. I don't even want to bring it up now. I'm going to break out in hives.
You just got your monetization back. Don't piss people off.
I know. Don't piss people off. Oh, wait. Maybe we should just go exclusive to Rumble where we can talk about this stuff. No, actually, this isn't so bad. So,
okay.
So you came to the conclusion in your podcast that the stereotype is and isn't true, which I thought, well, that's kind of a cop out. Like it is, but it isn't. But I kind of understand where you're coming from, because when I was in Chicago and I waited tables there, it was the stereotype was much more true than it is in New York. So in New York, you cannot tell. You never know. Like people are bad tippers, good tippers, and it doesn't seem to matter. Now in Chicago, though, my experience was that the stereotype was true there. That's just the way it shook out. But in New York, it's like a harder thing. So you just can't tell. So I did have this table, and I was wondering, like, well, do I walk up to a table do I have a negative approach to them immediately because I'm worried about it or I'm anxious about it? And I'm trying to be honest with myself. And I think, no, I think my anxiety lies in, will they like me or not? There was something you said during your podcast where you had asked your co-host, do you think you get better tips because you're Black from Black people? And he was like, yes, definitely. Definitely. And you're like, well, why is that? And I think one of his answers was, well, because they're my people. I'm their people. So we have that in common, and we have that. So I think my source of anxiety is, I'm not your people, and I don't want you to hate me or not like me. And I'm trying to do my best. I'm trying to be treat you like everybody else and give you my best service. So I walk up to this table. It's a man and wife, Black couple, probably in their late 50s, early 60s. And this lady, right out of the gate, she makes me read that entire menu to her.
Oh.
Now, I know she can read because she's looking at her phone and reading her phone at the same time. So she's reading something, so it's not a reading issue. And because some people are like, well, maybe she had a difficult time seeing the menu. And I'm like, well, the phone text was just as small, if not smaller.
Yeah.
So she starts asking me a million questions, but I'm like, I'm going to give her the best service I possibly can. And I'm answering every question, but I do have like 2 other tables I'm trying to get to. And this woman makes me read the entire menu. Well, what's in this? I mean, it's literally written right there. I'm pointing it out to her. Well, there's tomato and bacon and this and that. Keep going down. Go down the whole thing. Well, what are the fish tacos? What's in them? What do you make? So I go over it. What kind of tortillas is it? Well, maybe I'll try that. She was I'll try that. And I was like, uh-oh, what if she doesn't like it? Like, this is going to be my fault. Well, then her husband starts, he doesn't have any questions, but he says, I want lemon with my water. And so I'm like, okay, I'll get you some lemons, no problem. And I bring him a couple lemons. And I bring him like 2 or 3, and I put them down. Now I'm serving them, and everything's fine. Everything's going fine. They are liking everything. They're effusive about everything. The tacos are great. This is great. They love this. They love the service. They even commented on how good my service was. All the while, though, I'm looking, and these lemons are sitting by the water. And he has not put these damn lemons in the water yet. And they have been there eating. And so I thought, maybe he didn't see them. Maybe he didn't see. So I say to him, I go, I brought you your lemons for your water. I didn't know if you saw them or not. And he goes, yeah, I saw them.
Oh, man.
And still never puts the lemons in the water.
That's confusing.
They sent me for all kinds of stuff. Extra dressing, extra this, extra that. I'm running. But I'm feeling like I'm doing a good job because they had all these good things to say.
Verbal tip?
$4 tip. Yeah, verbal tip. $4 on a $68 bill.
It burns.
Ouch.
It burns, doesn't it?
Ouch. Ouch. If I had known, I would have just let her read her own damn menu, from the beginning.
You know what I tell them? I said, it's an open book test. I'll be back.
That's a good one.
I'll explain a couple of dishes, but when you go all the way down, I say, oh, it's an open book test. Give me a few minutes. I'll be back to find out what you'd like to have. It's a gross waste of your time and your talents to sit there and read the menu.
Totally.
If there's something that's in between the lines that really isn't in the menu that you need to explain, that's to tie up your server like that. And then not compensate them. I had to stop talking about tipping. I won't do it on Instagram. I won't do it on my podcast anymore unless it's relevant.
Get really pissed off about the whole tipping thing. Do you know about this Reddit page RN tipping?
No, but I'm going to check it out. I promised you that though.
It is you're going to get some content on this, let me tell you.
Yes,
it's a terrifying place to be. First of all, I think it's mostly like Zoomers in there. I think this is a real Zoomer kind of, it's called, r/n tipping.
Okay.
And here, let me go. What they do is they really like to, I'm going to try and share this screen here. They really like to get on server Reddit pages and, troll us and talk about, how we shouldn't be we should be getting paid a living wage by our employers. Nobody understands the economy. Zoomer generation is super young. Yeah, that's the generation after the millennials.
They don't understand the history of it, and they don't understand the culture of it, and they don't understand the economics of it. They think that we showed up and said, hey, we want this system. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. And we want the customers to pay our wages.
Right.
All right.
So here we go. So this is the kind of stuff that they complain about. So they claim that that they're for giving servers a living wage, which frankly, that doesn't even make sense to me. There is no such thing as a living wage. If you ask me, I think you get paid what you're worth, depending on what you put into it. And, you got to do the training that it takes to be good at something. And then you go make the money. And as far as the restaurant industry is concerned, there is no way a restaurant that is struggling anyway, because most of them are, could afford to pay us what we get paid when you include our tips. They would have to pay us $30 to $50 to $60, $70 an hour. And then your burger would cost you $50. So is that what you want? You want a $50 burger so that they can pay us? Because nobody would do this job for minimum wage. Nobody would put up with the kind of shit we have to do and be a tableside psychologist for these people having mental meltdowns. No one would put up with this for less than $20 to $50 an hour, would they?
It's super complicated, and I mean, I myself, I'm not sure if I even like tipping, but it's a legacy thing that's a holdover from not wanting to pay, particularly Black people, back in the day, and then restaurants fought to keep tipping, and it never was a thing, but it's a thing that benefits. It's really tough, man. If you want to, it's too far gone to have it change now.
Well, I don't even think it could. I mean, I think your restaurants are all struggling. There are no restaurants out there that are making bank to the point where they can just afford to triple what they pay their workers and then continue to keep the doors open and the customers coming in. I don't think they get that. I don't think people understand the economics of it and how the restaurant industry has been suffering since COVID anyway.
Even if it's a low margin business, I would never want to own a restaurant.
Right. I know it's a really tough thing. So here's a post that had me cracking up. It said, this is an interesting, what could you buy with $600? It's an interesting article based on this study. 20% is only for flawless service and it drops to 6% for rudeness. But seriously, if the average person tips $600 per year, what else could you spend this money on? And I think, well, look, I don't want you to pay me anything if you don't think I deserved it or if you're not happy with my service.
Okay.
I don't want you to pay me. I want you to want to give me a tip. And if you don't, that's okay. But I don't want you to feel forced.
People are going to tip and people aren't going to tip. I don't think that, do you go to work worried really if people are going to tip you or not? You go to work and you want to do the best that you can, and you want to have an easier time at it than most. You don't want to go and struggle at work and come home harassed and bruised. There are other concerns that you have when you show up to work, and the tips are going to come. There are good people out there, and so I don't know. If you don't want to tip, my advice to you is don't go out to the same place twice.
Yes, true, because people do recognize you when you go back.
Oh, yeah.
The weird thing is, too, is like, I do understand the pushback against tipping when every single place you go now, even if it's a walk-up counter or a drive-through, you're asked to tip.
Yes.
You're just getting counter service, and those people are making minimum wage, whereas servers make less than minimum wage. So you think, well, why do we have this? So that is not helping the service industry. It's not helping servers in restaurants that every single walk-up counter is asking people for tips. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing, and we're really confusing the issue because a tip is there's a difference between a tip and a gratuity. And what you and I generally work towards is a gratuity in gratitude of our service. It's not a walk-up counter. You didn't have to put your food in to the kitchen. You didn't have to communicate to them. You didn't have to go grab your food and take a tray and sit down. You didn't have to rely on someone's expertise and knowledge about the wine and the food and get you extra napkins and things like that. There's a service and a gratuity for it. And a tip is something that's done in advance. When you get out of your car to go to the airport, and the porter comes to you and you give him a tip and he grabs your bag. A tip is something that you do in advance, just as, as a appreciation. And so we use the two terms interchangeably, and they're really not the same thing. And so between the tip jar at the counter service, where you didn't really get any service at all, or the POS system that slides around, and you're at a cafe and
you're being pressured to leave 15, 20, or 25%.
Yes, sometimes it's not even they just but 20, 22. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
So keep a couple of dollars in your pocket, the singles or whatever it is, and hit pass on that button and put a tip in the jar.
Yeah.
And
or don't. I don't tip at counter service. It's crazy.
Or don't.
Sometimes it depends. Here's the thing. It depends. If I feel like they're giving service and not just filling orders or just handing me something, then I'll leave a dollar or two. I always carry cash. Yeah. But I don't feel obligated to do that at counter service. But at restaurants, I would not go out to eat unless I was planning on tipping 20% or more, because it's just part of the deal. It's just part. I'm trying to give you an experience that you don't get at home, that you are not. And so like if you come out and see me, I'm going to make sure that you feel like you were taken care of and that you were heard and listened to. And I'm going to try and give you whatever it is that experience you were looking for. And I'm going to be cheerful and, help you have a good time. I really want you to have a good time. It's something I really want. And I'm like you, I want a gratuity. I don't want just a tip because that's what people do. I want to make people feel like, hey, she was really great, and I'm happy to give this to her.
I agree. It's the counter service thing. I do end up giving a couple of bucks in there, not because I'm pressured or I feel it's just a mindset thing for me. And I'm not encouraging anybody to do it, but as I walk through life, if I can, smile at somebody, pat them on the back, hey, what's up? I'm the person to greet people on the in public, because I really want to influence my environment in a positive way, because we have so many pressures to be negative, or somebody cuts you off. I just go ahead and I try to preserve that. So as I go up to the counter, it's not going to break me to put a couple bucks in the thing, just to not be in control of what anybody does with it or why it's being done. I just let it go, and it's just my mindset. Yeah, it's just my mindset. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah. And there are times too, like where you'll be in a drive-through or whatever, and somebody is out in that drive-through line, standing out there in the heat, taking orders to make it go quickly. And I always drop a tip in the jar, because you're out there, you're sweating. Yeah, it's that's not fun either, But it depends for me. If it's just the walk-up coffee shop, sometimes I just don't. But that's just,
there's nothing wrong with that, because you don't
want to. And I think that people shouldn't feel like you're obligated. And if you are feeling that way, then it's not coming from your heart anyway. It's not a good thing to feel resentful about it. And that's what I get from the Reddit page, the end tipping. It's just so much resentment. And I would love to have some of these people do this job first. Like, if you really believe that tipping is not something you should do and it's not something we deserve, then come and work in a restaurant just for a few shifts,
Mhm.
and then tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel after dealing with the general public for, a certain amount of time. I also think a great reality show, Marlon, would be, I would like to call it the ladies who lunch, because it's always the ladies who lunch who give me the worst time. And I would love to have like a restaurant where they sign a waiver when they walk in that something, they could be involved in a show, and they
Uh,
and they sign it, and then your worst tables, you get to announce to them, all right, ladies, today you're going to serve the staff. And here we go, and
mhm.
pick them up from the table and make them go and serve this order. Like, I would love to see this, because the tables are never turned, and they don't know what we go through. Legal Vice says, thank you for the super chat. Tip this, remonetize waitress chick. It happened. It finally happened, Jeff. It happened. So we're back on YouTube. So let's get to that 20,000 subscriber mark. We're almost there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and make sure you go and check out the Modern Waiter podcast on YouTube. I've put the link in the description so that you can go and become fans of Marlon's podcast, because he is so fun. And the stuff he is doing over there is just, it's great. I love the information that you provide. Here's something that you have taught me: body language. So I will never forget this. You said, don't bend over to hear a guest.
Yes.
Don't bend over and get down, or get down, like squat down, or any of that. Get further away and ask them to speak up. Holy cow, does that make a difference?
Yes. Actually, it's just hold your posture straight vertically and not necessarily draw back from them, because it's I for lack of sorry for saying it this way, it's really a battle for control. And so as you really establish your dominance or your position, not necessarily dominance, but
But
it's
there's
an
a position of
exchange.
authority. There's
Yes,
there's authority there. I'm the one who's the expert here. I'm the one who's
correct.
knowledgeable about this restaurant, about the menu, and about the
Yes.
experience you're about to have.
Yes. Yes, I agree. And people will instinctively take advantage of you if you display submissive body language. And so as people, like I mentioned earlier when we at the top of your show, sometimes people don't look at you and they just look down and they're speaking. I won't even repeat back the order. I'll stand there and the other guests will say, "Oh, you didn't tell him," and they'll have to look at me, or I'll say, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh, can you speak up?"
Hmm.
And so I tend to stand straight up, and I use those definitely.
It's true, though. It's true. And like, I have found myself like leaning over to hear better. And now after I heard that show, I've started continuing to just stay straight in my
Mhm.
position and ask them, just, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that? And
Yes.
And I also have started to be a little more, a little louder, a little more projecting of my voice. As I'm walking up to the table, I will give out a kind of booming, "Hey, folks, how's it going?" So that everybody turns around and looks at me,
Mhm.
so that I'm not standing there while they're
Yes.
just, ignoring me completely. Um, Getting getting the voice to project a little bit seems to help, to get their attention. It did happen to me, though, the other day, that I had a big table, and only half of the table heard the drink specials, because the men at the end of the table wouldn't stop talking to one another. So I had to walk to the other end of the table and say, "Hey guys, I don't think you just heard a word I said, did you?" And they go, "Nope." And I said, "Okay, well, now it's your turn." And I had to tell that half, here's what I was saying. So that was a little tough. I probably should have been louder.
Another device that you can use if you're not able to project all the way through is to use the silence, because ultimately you recognize and they end up recognizing that they're there for a reason. They need you. So as I approach a table, if I have the time, I'll stand there and I won't say a word. And
Just
so they,
silent.
yes, you're just silent because you're not being rude. You're waiting. You're actually being polite. And as one person, if one person sees you, they will put the other people on notice. Hey, he's here. Pay attention. And then you start to command your presence just from being there. And so when you establish that, every time you come to the table, they're going to need something from you. And so you don't have to really try that hard after that. They will pay attention to you after you come
I'm
up.
gonna
So you
try
can use
that.
it another way. Yeah. And
I've only used silence before when I was just shocked by something terrible someone said to me. And instead of responding, I just stared at her and then I walked away. And what she had said was, I had put water down in front of her and she acted like I had jumped out at her from a haunted house. And she went like this. And I went, oh, I'm sorry. She goes, you should put a bell around your neck.
oh no.
Oh yeah. And I just went like this. And then I turned around and walked away. Like, you're in a restaurant, you know waiters are coming.
Yeah.
Why in the world would you be shocked or
You do know I
upset?
work here, right?
Yeah, I mean, why would you be shocked or upset that someone drops a glass of water in front of you? Yeah, like a cat or a cow, she wanted me to have a bell around my neck. And she wasn't joking. She didn't laugh. She was like angry with me. Thank God it wasn't my table. It was somebody else's. We gave it to the new girl because both the manager and I were like, we're not doing it. We're not going over there. Let's haze the new girl. So, you know, strangely, she left a decent tip. She'd complained about everything, but she left her a decent tip. So that was good.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters, right? You know, we forgive a lot of stuff if you leave a decent tip.
That's why we're here. That will smooth most things over.
Have you ever had as an experience as a customer, like where you take someone out that you know is a problem and you have to smooth it over with the service staff ahead of time? Because I have a family member I've had to do this with. Every time I would go out to eat with her, I would pull the waiter aside or the waitress aside and say, here's $20 just to get you through this part and I'll leave you more later. Like, this is a preemptive I'm sorry for all of what's about to happen. And I feel like that helps because then we have the sending back of the food and then they don't seem to care because they know that I know and you know, we're dealing with it.
Wow. So, top of the show, you mentioned that that's exactly what happens to you sometimes as a server. The person's is apologizing. Oh, he's going to be a problem. And you
yeah, but at least I
point.
paid the money though.
That's true. The payoff is important. The payoff is important.
Because there are some people that you can't control. Like you can't, whether it's because they're your grandmother or your parent or someone that you cannot control. I cannot control this person. There's no way that I can control this person. So because it wouldn't matter what I said. It wouldn't matter what I said or what I did. There would be no stopping it. So
I let it play out and I do it at the end. Yeah, I circle around and I make sure I say, I don't know if they tipped you or not, but here's an extra whatever. 30.
There you go.
Yeah. I kind of like the I like the drama a little bit sometimes. Like, they really doing this?
That's so good.
And usually if it's someone close to me, they know. I'll cite out the rules. If I know they know I've been in the business for a long time, and so I'll let them know. Listen, this you get 2 questions. That's it. Yeah, I put them on a pitch count.
That's so great.
Because you really don't want to be. You don't want to end up being embarrassed.
Yeah, true. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing to try and set some expectations. I've just had difficulties with certain people, and luckily I don't go out with them very often. But when I do, it's like, oh boy, here we go. It's gonna be bad. Oh, all right. So there was one other thing I wanted to ask you. What was it? I can't believe I've forgotten it. But there's so many. I mean, look, we talk about problem customers, about that's the one thing. So do you have a way that you deal with people who really go out of control, like yelling at staff, being belligerent and rude? Because this happens sometimes. It just happened the other day in our restaurant. Someone went off about us taking avocados off the menu because they're really hard to get they're hard to get fresh now, where they don't like rot quickly. And so they're too expensive to like keep ordering avocados and then have to throw out half of them.
Yes.
so there's a real distribution problem right now with avocados. And this woman I don't know if she had an avocado fetish or what, but I mean, she just went off on the manager in front of customers and screamed at him about I could go to the grocery store right now and get you some avocados. Why don't I do that? And how could you raise the price of the sandwich and not give me my avocados? And it was just a whole thing and she wouldn't stop in front of a whole restaurant full of people. When this happens to you guys, what do you do at your restaurant?
We tend to deal with the emotion behind it, because there's no amount of logic that's going to satisfy a person in that position, because they're not in your business, and they're never going to understand your business. So we tend to not attack it, but we tend to deal with it emotionally. So we say, "Oh, you're so right. That is so. It's unforgivable. It's unforgivable that we don't have avocado. I understand and you just make a big deal out of it, and the person, you join them in the fight. You join the resistance. You join how upset that they are, and then they really don't have any place to go after that. It's like, how could you? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's. I know, you join them, and then they
Hope that
end up
it diffuses it. Yeah.
It usually does. I mean, as long as they're not being abusive. I have a phrase that says, I'm the perfect person for it. I go, I'm built for this. Because I notice that the more calm that you are when someone's amped up, the more angry that they get, because they want you to have a match to them, not screaming match in opposition. But when you join them, it's like, oh, this is too expensive. You're right. It's really outrageous.
It's outrageous.
Yeah. And you join them,
We
and then
should
they
try
have no
that.
power.
We should try that. I'm going over to locals for a minute. We've got a tip in the chat from Red Storm. Says, being a wait person is a skill. It's the front line of hospitality. Sales and customer skills have to be on point in order to make a living at it. I hated waiting on tables. I sucked at it. I will never do that again. Much respect to those who do this for a living. I do think it is a skill. And I think your podcast has helped me, hone that skill and bring it back, because I've been out of it for a really long time. But there are things, I think your podcast is really helpful for anybody who's in the industry or wants to be in the industry, to hear all these helpful tips and tricks that you have learned over the years. It is a skill. This is not it is something that it's easy to get hired as wait staff, right? Because it's fluctuating. You have people coming and going. You have people, and the restaurant will hire anybody pretty much, because it's a rotating door and they'll take a shot on whoever for the most part. But it's not a place that you'll be able to stay and make good money if you don't get interested in the skill of service, right, Marlon?
There's always something to learn. There's always a better way to do it. I don't have all the answers. I'm constantly learning. But as long as you're curious and you have that ability to be better than you were yesterday, it will serve you well. Because once you learn that one thing, that one trick, you have it in your bag. You have that arrow in your quiver, and then that's one less thing to satisfy. And as I work next to other people, and I work with some amazing servers, and I pick up, oh, I like the way he said that. And it's all about how it's put, how it's phrased, and the little things. And it's just adding to your bag of tricks. I do enjoy it.
I learned a good one from one of the servers where I work, and it was about the split checks. Sometimes if they don't tell you in the beginning that they want split checks, the order's all messed up. And so you don't remember who had what. And so going back and doing that on your own, you're more likely to make a mistake. So what she does is she prints out the bill without doing one bill. And she brings over colored pens and says, pass this bill around, and you circle yours in pink, you circle yours in blue, you circle yours in green. And you know what's funny? 9 times out of 10, one person at the table will go, oh, forget this, put it on my card.
Yes.
Because they don't want to do the work that they're asking you to do. And so it's been the greatest little thing where it's like, well, since we didn't establish this at the beginning, here, this will make it easier for me. You go and do this. And then most of the time they're just like, nah, we don't want to.
Because they don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
They don't want to do the work. And that is so cool because I've done that to a lesser degree. For the most part, I could do separate checks, but what's really challenging is, like you said, at the end, and then there's a mismatch. Oh, I had this or I didn't have that.
Or there's an appetizer that they shared. So who gets the appetizer? Whose bill does that go on?
Yes, that's true. For me, it's more important to not take the separate payments at different times. So when somebody leaves early or they say, "Oh, I need my check," I let them know. Said, "Oh, we all pay together." So because I've been burnt before where somebody left and didn't pay for their portion, and that person said, "Oh, I didn't have that, and that was them, and this and that." And then so I said, now it's one person asked for the check, everybody's getting their checks.
Interesting. I haven't had that happen. That has not happened. Usually people all leave at the same time, but I will keep an eye out for that. See, you learn something new every day. Absolutely. It's so strange. Okay, so then the other thing is that you seem like a physically fit guy, and I noticed that, for me, I went back to waiting because of a health problem that I was having, a physical problem. And it really does help me. It has helped me immensely to like loosen up my spine. The spine likes to be in motion, and I am walking 10 to 16,000 steps a day when I'm working. I work Wednesday through Sunday right now because we're going into our slow season, which is so depressing. So we're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. And I hate that you're going into your busy season because you're in Florida. So you're going to be going into you're going to be rocking it.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. You guys have such a long season there too. I'm so jealous. New York has this short little window of, yeah. You guys get like what, through September through May at least.
It's the real season is more like February to May, but we get waves of up and down through like October, like the end of
Halloween-ish, I would say.
It's like in Fort Lauderdale, particularly, there's a Fort Lauderdale boat show. And then after that, then you have the holidays, and then it dips. Then you have the Christmas, it dips, New Year's dips. And then once you get the lull of the end of January, everybody's all pooped out, then it starts when everybody starts coming down because it's cold up north. The snowbirds come down.
Yep.
And that's when it's full on. Traffic's busy, all that stuff.
Yeah, we have just the opposite. So our season probably is from like April through October, but really the hottest season would be June through September. So it's tough. It's tough.
Okay.
Because now we're going into the slow season. And in fact, we get laid off for the month of January, the entire month we're closed. And so that stinks. But so I don't know what I'm going to do to get my movement in going on in January, especially in New York, because the snow is going to be knee high. But do you know other servers or other people who do it because, they need that exercise and they want to move and they want to be busy like that? Do you see that very often?
I call it the Peter Pan syndrome. That what we do, you almost are like Peter Pan living in Never Neverland, because we tend to be forever young. Yeah, we get older, but we're active. We're doing something physical. We're laughing with people. We're communicating with people. We're really, and low grade stress can be good. High grade stress not good. Well, it's actually the opposite. However, there are some people that gravitate to it because it's a physical way to get out and about instead of
my legs have gotten really a lot stronger. When I first started back into it, I was soaking my feet and legs every night, just in misery, laying in bed, not able to sleep because the pain in my legs was so bad.
Yeah.
But after a while, it's funny. I'm not even thinking about it anymore. My legs are just a lot stronger, and my endurance has just improved. I think the physical exercise, the physical part of it is really a positive for me anyway.
Yeah.
I love it. I hate sitting around though when it's slow. What do you do when it's slow? What do you do? Because it drives me absolutely crazy when there's nothing to do. I'm always looking for things to clean or roll silverware or something, but sometimes there's just nothing to do.
Servers are the worst when it's slow. I'm telling you that I have no solution for you.
Oh,
You will
so
get the
bad.
worst service when it's slow. Yeah, and I don't know why it happens, but you go to a slow restaurant, be prepared for terrible service. Because we work on flow, we need
Mhm.
things to happen. It's try juggling with one ball. It's really tough.
Yeah, it's really tough. I had that happen yesterday. It slowed down like incredibly, and I only had like 2 tables, and I totally forgot someone, which is very strange. There were only 2 people in the whole restaurant. So for me, it's just my brain doesn't work when there's nothing to do.
Yes.
And also you get off on your timing.
Yes.
Timing is huge, right? You know how long you need to you have when you're busy, like everything comes down to timing. Like I've got it all planned out. But when it's slow, I kind of lose the ability to estimate time.
I don't know what happens. For me, I get this strange uh tunnel vision. I messed up at brunch yesterday because my second turn was very slow. Other people had stuff, but I only had one table on my second turn. I'm walking around, nothing to do, and they were celebrating. It was a couple, and they were celebrating their birthday. Well, her birthday. They were celebrating her birthday, and so I put together a little plate, "Happy Birthday" written on it, and I put some desserts there and a candle, and I'm going through the motions. He got up, went to the bathroom, and I still laid the dessert on the table with the candle lit. And she was by herself. And I walked away and I thought, oh, he's not
What
even
did I
thinking.
do? Oh
Yeah.
no.
So then he comes to the table and I offered, I said, hey, I can get you a new plate, new candle and everything. And they said, no problem. But it really bothered her.
Mm.
She sat there and at the end, she said, you brought my candle out and he wasn't here and I was by myself. And I said, you know what, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I was I had tunnel vision for some reason. I didn't know what to say. It was
What are you gonna say?
I
Sometimes
messed
it
it up.
happens.
Yeah,
Sometimes that happens.
I
And the
completely
last thing
messed up.
we want is to upset a customer. Like that, no one, unless you're some kind of, masochist, you don't want to hurt people that you're there to help. You don't want to
Yes.
upset them, and you want their special day to be good. And we feel an immense amount of guilt when something
Yeah.
like that goes wrong, and we were the ones that messed it up. It's really embarrassing, and it's hard. But and also letting it go, letting a bad experience go so that it doesn't affect the next experience you're about to give is a tough thing.
Yes.
You have to let it go. You have to let that negativity go because it's all about, bringing that energy to the next table, and you don't wanna bring that, "Oh, no, I'm scared to screw up" energy now
And your
to the
coworkers won't
next.
let you forget either. They'll keep rubbing it on until the end of time.
My coworkers are really good about pep talking and telling you just to let it go, move on. There's another table, we
Mm.
gotta move. I think one of the things that is always tough, and this happens in slow season a lot, is that we run out of things, or the distribution, or the ordering isn't as they're not ordering as much because the restaurant is so slow.
Mhm.
And so they have to be careful with the budget. I wish what they would do is just make the menu smaller and then have those things,
Yes.
and not run out, because running out is tough. We've had a CO2 issue for a week now where the CO2 keeps running out, and we don't
Mhm.
have our delivery coming until I don't know when. I'm waiting. We're still waiting on it. So I've had to tell people that, oh, only certain drafts are running right now. And that's tough because for
That's
some
tough.
reason nobody wants to order a beer in a can anymore. I don't know what the deal is with the cans versus draft. I know draft, you like draft. I like draft. But pour a canned beer in a glass and it's pretty much the same thing. In fact, I would bet that I could serve you a canned beer in a glass and a draft beer together, and you wouldn't be able to tell me which one was which.
That's tough. Give me just a second if you don't mind.
No, yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Chat, remember to hit that like and subscribe. Make sure that you are following this channel. We got our monetization back today. And so you can send super chats, super stickers, you can send all of that, and make sure that you go and subscribe to the Modern Waiter podcast, where Marlon is hosting a great podcast. He's on YouTube. He's also on iTunes, on what is it, Apple Podcasts. That's where I listen to the show. And he has a terrific show where he talks about the industry and restaurants and serving and what it's like. And basically, if you're considering something alternative that has a very flexible schedule, I know I find it very, very, it's great for me because then I'm still able to go get my kids and take them to sports and also get all the exercise I need. This is a great podcast to listen to, the Modern Waiter podcast. You should get over there. So let's go over to the chat because I starred a few comments that I wanted to read. Hey, YouTube is now doing this thing where it automatically stars super chats. That's really great. Holly says, yikes, I'm super autistic and self-conscious, so I would like to apologize to every waiter I've made feel uncomfy by not looking at them. It's not like a requirement that you give eye contact. And I think we understand that some people just feel uncomfortable. It's strange when they never look at you and you don't know if they're paying attention or not. Like that's a little tough. Like just a little acknowledgement would be nice sometimes because we don't know what's happening. So, all right, what else do we have in here? Let's get back over to the chat. Make sure that you guys go over to meganfox.locals.com and follow me over there because I am doing we're doing the Tales from the Restaurant over there where I tell you all about the stuff that the encounters that I have at the restaurant where I work. And that is a locals only stream. Welcome back, Marlon. Welcome back to the podcast. We are going to, we'll wrap it up. I know I've kept you for a really long time and
I had a good time.
I'm so
That's
glad.
one of those a client was calling me from the t-shirt business. So
yeah, no worries. I do a locals only stream where I do my Tales from the Restaurant and catch everybody up on the different encounters that I've had there. And I was just telling everybody, you need to follow me on Locals, meganfox.locals.com. You don't have to pay for it. If you just want to get the notifications, you can turn notifications on and then you know when I'm streaming, where I'm streaming, who I'm streaming with. And I hope this thing is not freezing. It looks like my camera might be frozen and that's okay. We're about to end this anyway. Marlon from the Modern Waiter podcast, thank you so much for being here. Tell people where to find you.
I am on Instagram, the Modern Waiter, at the Modern Waiter podcast, or you can email me, themodernwaiter@gmail.com. I'm on all the platforms for podcasts as well as YouTube, the Modern Waiter YouTube channel. I'm definitely appreciative of you bringing me on. I don't do many. I'm not on this side of the podcast interviews, so I'd love to, if you don't mind, I'd love to have you on at some point. And
that would be so exciting. I would love to go on your show. I love your show. I think it's so fun. I love it.
I definitely want to talk to you about two things. First thing that struck me was doing the house pool. That's always been interesting to me. And you work in a split level restaurant where you don't talk to the kitchen until the end. I'm very interested to know how that actually works as a restaurant and dealing with.
Yes, tough. So. No, we don't do tip pooling. We tip out to the bar and the food runners. We definitely tip out a percentage of sales to them, but we just help each other. Like it's just because it's a small place and we don't even have sections. We just take turns. Which I think actually works better because then nobody gets stiffed on customers if they want to sit somewhere else. It's just if it's your turn, it's your turn. We try to keep the numbers the right way. So if somebody gets a 4 top, I might get the next twos, the next set of two twos, you know? Okay. And then we'll just switch back and forth.
All right.
If I take a 12, then I'm out of the rotation until the next 12 people come in and then I'm back in, you know?
Okay.
And the hostess, I work with my daughter too. She's a hostess there. She's a senior in high school and they needed a hostess. And I thought, well, she can come along and we'll learn how to do this. And I really want my kids to experience the restaurant industry because I think it makes you appreciate customer service. I think it makes you appreciate hard work. It's really hard work. And working with the public is a great experience. It actually helped my daughter, be able to communicate with adults much better. She got over her anxiety of talking to adults by being a hostess, and she's totally over it now, which is great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but the way we have the two levels is really an interesting topic. We should talk about that because it's a challenge. There's challenging aspects to it for sure.
Okay. And is the waiter you mentioned, is it unmanned, or is it like, can people go in it, or it's just
People can go in it. So it's but what we have are like we have shelving unit in there that has 1, 2, 3, 4 big trays on them, and then the food will just come up and they'll just send it up to us and we lock it open. And that's another issue, because if you forget to unlock the elevator, the kitchen will freak out because they need it, they need it to put the food on. But we just unload it quickly, restock the trays, and send it back down. Awesome. And then take it right out. So that is the same elevator, though, that you would ride up in, or we put the dish tray in so that they can go get the dish. They'll just pull them out on the bottom floor, go wash the dishes, send them back up, or silverware or whatever. It works. I mean, when it works, it's no issue. They radio as soon as it's on its way up, food in the alley, get it, and we go and get it, and it works. Now, when it doesn't work, it sucks, because if we didn't hear it on the radio, if they didn't hear somebody say copy, if they didn't hear you and then they don't repeat it and you were doing something else, now you're going to hear from the kitchen that, why is their food still in the elevator?
Yes.
Then they get pissed. So it's tough with the communication. The radios have to always be on and always be working.
That's important.
We had that problem when I had one the other day that it looked like it was working and I was hearing things on it, but no one was hearing me. So I couldn't understand, why is the kitchen not communicating with, why are they not responding to me? What did I do today? Why are they ignoring me? And it turned out that the radio was broken, so there are those challenges.
Yes, there's always something.
There's always something. But then again, I also think it's probably good for the kitchen. They probably hate it when servers are constantly in their space, coming in, asking for stuff. And we don't do that. We pretty much leave it to the manager on the floor. If there's a problem, she's the one who communicates with the kitchen. We just tell her, here's what happened. And then she will get on the radio and communicate, so that there's only one person that they're hearing from. So it's not like, 5 waitresses asking for things at once.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. I was so happy to have talked to you, because every time I'm listening to your show, I'm like, oh, I want to ask him this, or I want to ask him that. I love it.
Well, we almost missed each other because
I know. I emailed you and I didn't get a response, or at least, and I never saw it. But sometimes Proton Mail is weird like that, and stuff will go to spam that I don't want to go to spam, and then I miss it. So I'm glad I reached out again and heard from you, because I really appreciate your time here. And I hope that my chat, I hope the audience will go and subscribe today. Go over to Modern Waiter Podcast. In fact, let me see if I can drop it in the chat here. Let me go over there and get the, it is in the description. But I will also put the link in the chat for you guys. I want you to go over there and subscribe to Marlon's channel, because he's got some great stuff over there. I laugh and laugh and laugh. One of the things we didn't talk about that I wanted to, here, I'm dropping it in the chat right now, was the lies that we tell.
That was a fun episode, and we could do that episode every year, it seems.
The lies that we tell. I love I'll ask the chef. Yeah, I will ask the chef, and then we walk away and we don't say crap to the chef, because the chef is busy. Okay,
chefs can be scary people, and they do control your job. It might sound that the manager does, but the chef controls the manager as well. Or it can, depending on the structure.
Oh, yeah. So. And you don't want to bombard your chef with all these questions you already know the answer to. And for some reason, people want to hear you say, the chef has been notified of your request, but he's declining to do it, or whatever. He can't do it.
Yeah.
And so we'll just often just walk away, give them a minute or two, and come back and say, I'm so sorry, but the chef says no.
Yes. Never asked.
No, he never asked. No.
We work here. We're trying to keep our job.
The other one that I always have to lie about is when people say, "Can you turn the music down?" And I'll say, "Yeah, I'll go find out." And then I know the answer. The answer is no. No, we cannot. We don't control it. We're sharing a building with a bunch of different people, and we don't have controls over any of that. So
That's
sorry. Sorry, but we cannot. And then not unless I want to run downstairs and like beg someone in there, "Can you please, sir?" It's fine. The music is fine. Enjoy yourself,
Music's for everybody, not just you.
And thank you so much for being here, Marlon. Let me know. I'll come on your show anytime you want. So if you let me know, and we will do it.
Yes, we'll definitely set it up, and I'm glad to have come on, and hopefully, if you ever need anything from me, I'm here for you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And I'm dropping the link to Marlon's YouTube channel in Rumble as well. So go over there, go subscribe on YouTube, check out the Modern Waiter podcast on Apple podcast. That's where I listen to it. And I sub to that show. It's a great show. I laugh and laugh and laugh listening to you guys tell your stories. I love it. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Everybody in chat, thank you so much this was a fun show today. We had like almost 200 people on YouTube and 100 over on Rumble at the same time. And of course,
awesome.
my ride or die over at Locals. So I hope to see Marlon's subscriber numbers start ticking up, guys. You guys need to get over there and help us out. And I'll see you again soon. I know I've been covering the Maya Kowalski trial. I missed a day last week. So we're going to go over the highlights at some point. Going forward, again, pay attention to Locals. That's where you're going to get the notifications for when I will be live. And I'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody.
I was lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. My friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. And my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye.
Johnny's problem is he should have come storming in there with a string of garlic and some holy water.
And a cross.
May the power of Christ compel you.
No, I don't.
I didn't realize this house was infested with succubuses.
Of what it, yes.
Succuloters.
When you arrived in the afternoon. I don't remember saying it now. So while she
No wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
Oh my God.
You-
Your next witness?
Now I know why I wanted to drown her.
Laces. And that is
Witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Miss Fast.